Hey guys, so as you've seen from the title, and if you've watched my videos for December, you may have realized that I've not been filming them at my place. We had to move out. If you're new here and this is your first video of me, hi, my name is Linda Mary. I do lifestyle vlogs, story times, and yeah, generally. So I wanted to give an explanation. We had to move out, and it was not my decision. It was not my will to move out at that point, but we were forced to move out. So I just want to take you through what happened before we got to that point, how we were asked to move out, and then how I moved from there to here where I'm at. So where I'm at physically, some of you know if you've been watching my vlogmas seasons, where I'm at emotionally, and going forward, what next. And I don't want to edit this video because I watched the if you so just bear with me with all these mistakes. I don't want to edit this video. When I was editing the first video, when I went to my first day when I went to therapy and I was emotional and I was crying, it was so hard for me. I don't want to watch this video back, or else I won't be uploaded. So I'd lived, let me say past tense, okay, I'd lived in that house for 3 years, and before this year things were okay. I used to pay my rent very early, before fast. Actually, my landlady used to joke with me and tell me that I normally get your money fast. I know among all my tenants, because she has different apartments, not just the one I was living in. And she used to tell me, of all my tenants, you are the one who normally sends the money fast. We never had any issues. She had never called me to ask me about when I would pay, what would happen. It was just between 25th and 29th, most of the time I would have cleared. The latest that I think I ever paid rent was second or third there. And there was a time that I even paid 2 months rent. I think that was last year, November or December. I paid 2 months rent. So we've had a very good relationship with the landlady, and I was dealing with the owner of the house directly. Okay, this is the first time that I'm living in a house where I'm dealing with the owner. Yes, we had a caretaker who would help to maintain the building and everything, but I was dealing directly with the owner. I would just send her money directly. So this year, starting this year, as you guys know, if you've watched me, I'm a freelancer, I'm a freelance writer, I'm a content writer, article writer, you name it. This is not something new. I've done this for 9 years. So it's something I've done full time. It's something I've done part time. When I was employed, I was always doing freelance work. So it was not something new to me. And yes, in freelance work, generally there are ups and downs. It's like a business. There are days, I've just realized my voice is weird. I have sort of a flu, so just bear with me. There are days where you have a lot of clients, there are days where you don't have a lot of clients. That is normal. So I was used to that pattern. But in 2022, things just took another turn that I've never seen. So in 2021 January, November and December, I've been having long-term clients that I've worked with for a year or 2 years. So most of them ended their contracts with me. One told me they were moving away from that business, they were getting into something else. One told me that they were not able to continue with the writing for now, they were pausing. So bottom line is that my long-term clients left. So that was not a problem because sometimes that happens. I was like, I'll just continue to look for more clients, because I also had these two clients who I used to write for once in a while. So in January, I got such a client, very amazing client. We used to work together, he used to send me work every week, and he used to pay well. Okay, so that is like the most that I've had, or the best in the industry, but he paid fairly. Okay, and then I also had the normal clients who would come and they want one job here and there. So if you watch my vlogs for last year, around March, that is when I traveled. I first went to Kisumu, I saw my sister. I gave part of this explanation in my vision board, and I was explaining why I was not able to achieve a lot of those things, but I didn't go into detail like this. So in March, I traveled and went and saw my sister. From there, I traveled straight to Nanyuki. I went and stayed with my friend also, and then I came back to Nairobi. So when I was in Nanyuki, that was the last job that I did for my regular client, but I didn't even know that that was the last job that I did, because we used to communicate well. He used to apply me on Upwork. That's where I've been getting a lot of my jobs. So he used to just send me the title and I write the job and blah blah, and he pays. So even the last time, he used to give me bonuses sometimes. Even the last time when there's in Upwork, if you're working there, there are steps. When a client hires you, they deposit money, but you can't access it after doing the job. Then you are able to access the money when the client says they're satisfied with the job. So after he released the payment, I was like, oh, thank you for approving the payment or the milestone. And he was like, no, thank you for doing an amazing job. I was like, yeah, we were just on a good vibe. So the next day I told him, the next week I was like, oh, I'm ready for this week's article. Silence. I gave him 1 week, because once in a while he will maybe let a week pass. And then the next week I was like, oh, are the articles ready? Like, do you have the titles or what you are going to write about? I'm ready. Silence. And then 3 weeks, after 3 weeks, that's when it hit me that, you know what, this client has ghosted me and they're not coming back. So of course that was a blow, because this was my regular client. So I knew I had a certain amount of money I was expecting each week, even though I was still looking for other clients and working for other clients once in a while. So after that happened, that point, that is the time that I had already paid on all my bills. I had cleared my school fees for my daughter Taraji, because most of the time I would pay the school fees at once and then maybe just buy the other things slowly. So I had cleared all my bills and I had money left, and I was like, this is the time that I'm going to complete the renovation in my bedroom. If you watch my video on Vlogmas where I titled it "What Had Been Hiding in My Bedroom," yes, there was that renovation, that vanity area. I had the money for it. It was end of March, I believe. That school holiday thing, March, April, there, end of March, I think. So I was like, you know what, finally I'm going to do this. So I had the money. I was just waiting for the money to be available, because there is a process for it to be available. So when I came back from the traveling and I sat down, and it was week 3 and I didn't hear from this client. So I was like, what? This client has ghosted me. So I told myself it's not wise for me to use this money to, sorry, I thought someone was passing. I was like, it's not wise for me to use this money to renovate, and yet I have not had jobs in the past 3 weeks. So because it was more than enough for my rent, I was like, let me just pay rent with it and Wi-Fi, and then I'll get the money for the renovation some other time. So that is what I did. And then now, from there, I continued looking for jobs as always. I was like, okay, that client is gone, let me look for other jobs. That is where the problem started, because for some reason which I have never seen in all the 9 years that I've been in industry, it was dry for me. I applied for jobs, I talked to people, I really tried different places. I was not getting jobs. We got into April is where I think I started now withdrawing my savings. I didn't have much savings. I just started like working continuously, because as you remember, I left my full-time job. And yeah, so even the jobs that I'd worked previously, they're not actually a lot. They were not like paying that much that I could have like a lump sum. It was just something little. But I think in April, that's when I started withdrew from everywhere. Again, paid my rent on time, paid school fees, paid bills, blah blah blah. May, again, no jobs. So at this point I started panicking, because it's been a while, and this is where life started being hard. So I just continued trying my best, and then I would get one-time jobs which I would understand. I would get someone, they want me to write one thing for them, and then they like it so much, they praise it, they give me a good review, but they don't come back. So I'm like, what's going on? So that happened again May. That is when I started having problems with paying rent. And I remember I called my landlady, because we used to communicate. Me, I would communicate with her. If something happens, I would be like, you know what, maybe this time we are getting paid late or whatever, so expect rent maybe during this time. I like to communicate as opposed to waiting for the owner of the house to look for me. So I called her in May. It was May, I think. And I told her, you know what, things are getting thick, and I may not be able to pay rent as on time as I've been paying, because now I'm not getting as many jobs. I'm struggling here and there. So in May, when did I pay my rent for May? For May, that's when I started paying my rent late. I did not pay my rent on time. So from there, I took, I think, the next 2 months. That's when I got a substantial job, which was writing a book. And then I wrote that book, and then I got the money to pay rent. By that time, rent had accumulated for 2 months. So I paid rent for 2 months. So from there, remember, I still have daily bills. It's not just rent. So sometimes I would get one-time jobs, a small job. Other times I will not get. But you know, at the end of the day, we'll still have electricity to pay. We still have internet to buy internet or Wi-Fi, so I can look for these jobs. We still have other things, school requirements for my daughter. We still have food on a daily basis. So most of the times I will not get jobs, or I will get jobs that are just enough for me to buy to these two small things. So I paid the 2 months rent And then the next time also again, it went for another 2 months again. So I think at this point my landlady started getting frustrated, because I think even the last time that we spoke was in October, and she was like, Linda, now that you've paid the rent in October, am I expecting the next rent in December? Because you've now been paying 2 months rent, 2 months rent. And let me tell you guys, paying 2 months rent is not a joke, especially when you don't have money and you're not getting jobs. Because when you're paying 2 months rent, it means that I've finished everything. Because rent was my priority. Whenever I would get like a lump sum or a job that was enough for my rent, I'll just pay rent. So that means that you are broke, you're back to zero again. So it became very, very difficult. I'm not going to go into details of everything that happened. I'm just going to share what I'm comfortable sharing, and especially things that are related to the rent area. So in October, when she told me that I hope will I get the next rent in December? She said it like teasing, and I was like, no, I really hope not. I saw that things had started to peak that time. That time I think I was almost monetized on YouTube, and then I was getting these jobs. The funny thing is that for these clients, I don't even understand up to date, but this is the thing that will happen. They will hire me. For example, this one who hired me for the book, she was so happy. She was not like, you know what, I want to turn this book into a journal. I did. That is how even the money accumulated for me to be able to pay 2 months rent. Now I want to add more words so I can turn it into a podcast. I did. And she left me the most amazing review ever. And then she was like, I like your words so much. I like the way you vibe. I like your professionalism. I want you to write more and more books for me. I'm going to contact you over and over again. Then she went silent. So that would happen a lot. You get someone, they praise you, they like your work, they don't come back. So every time I would have hope, like, oh, this person said they're going to give me consistent work, so my problems are going to be over. Like, this is now this is my breakthrough. Okay, so every time I will think that, because they will hype me up, give me jokes, give me hope. And if you've been watching me like Stia, you notice that there was a time I used to take it so hard when I won't get jobs, or when clients ghosted me. I used to take it so hard. Before I didn't, because that's normal. Even if you have a business, not everyone who comes to inquire, or not everyone who buys will come again. But now it was because I really, really needed, I was counting on that money to pay my rent and my other bills. So I was like, that's why I will take it so hard. Whenever I would get rejected by a client or not get a job, I will take it extremely, extremely hard. So there's so many things that I did along the way. There was a time I worked for a friend of mine for a short while. There was a time I considered other things apart from what I'm doing. I have different skills, so I even went back to things that I'd stopped doing just to make ends meet. I did a lot of things, but still things were not, I was just falling behind. And I was feeling like, if you're feeling like, I felt like I was constantly running and not breathing. Because when I'm done with, by the time I pay this, it's already 2 months. I've paid that. Now there's school fees pending. Now there's this thing pending. Now there's this thing. I constantly felt that pressure. There was a time I even stopped doing videos on how to make money online, how to make money on Upwork. Even when people will inbox me, I'll be like, even me, I don't know at this point. I don't know what's going on. Because if I'm the one who's not been struggling this much, I'm the one who's struggling. I don't even know how to get those jobs myself. So I cannot even advise you on how to do them. So I think I can't remember the exact month. I don't know if it was October or November when I started my therapy session. There was just a day that I was so overwhelmed. My daughter's school had a swimming thing. They were going swimming. It was not expensive. It was not expensive at all. It was not something I would say that, oh, that trip is so expensive, I cannot pay for. It was not expensive. She was excited because it was one of the things she loves swimming. So she had packed her swimming costume, whatever. I had not paid for it. The school had, I was just under a lot of pressure. And I remember by the time she came back, I managed to pay for it. Yeah, I had a very, very good friend who came through for me, so I managed to pay for it. By the time she came back, and thank God she came back in the evening at around 5, because they would come back at 3:30. I was so emotional. I had cried. I was tired. I had just cried the entire day, and that's the time that from there I think I locked myself in my house for 5 days. Yes, there are times I would go out for food, but I just put a padlock on my door. I had friends who are also my neighbors. They knocked. There's one friend of mine who came. She called. I didn't pick. She texted. I didn't respond. She came to the door. She knocked. I didn't open. And I would just hear her knocking. I didn't open. I just wanted to be alone. It was a lot. So I stayed for those 5 days. I was not talking to people. And then at the end of that day, I think that's when I decided to go for therapy. I was like, you know what, I need help. So I went back to one of my subscribers had shared, yeah, that detail for the free counseling at Sitam. So that's when I started. But now that happened, and then I got monetized, and then my hopes came up again. I was like, you know what? I know YouTube is not going to pay now, because Mimi, I've been on this YouTube space for some time, and I've researched and I asked people, so I had realistic expectations. I was not hoping that now I'll get monetized like this and then I'll earn money. So I knew it will take time, but that gave me hope and everything. So in November, that's when my baby graduated. So they needed the graduation fee. I didn't even have it actually. It's a close relative of mine who came through for me with the graduation fee. But now after the graduation fee, immediately it was just in the same 2 to 3 days, they wanted me to clear the balance, because now I'd started paying fees like in half and then half. So they said I should clear the fee balance so I can get the report forms and whatever. So those documents, school documents, saying they've been promoted to the next class and whatever, and I needed those. Like even right now they'll come in handy, because if I'm looking for a school for, I need those. So I had to clear that fee. So by that I was like, whew, now I just have rent remaining. By that time already I had accumulated another 2 months. So I think it was November something, when my landlady called me, and she was always so jovial. She would call to me. She called me while she used to, even she knows I have a YouTube channel. She used to encourage me, and she tells me, you see, even the things Miss Trudy does, you can go and do them, you go to town, whatever. Yeah, she was very jovial, and we would talk. It was not just a landlady tenant relationship. So she called me, and this day that she called, she was not joking, she was not lively. She was just like, I've been patient, but you need to clear these arrears, or else, because I don't want to send that she said, because I don't want to send that lady, that woman. And then she just hung it up. She was talking to, I don't know, someone. So she was like, I have to go, blah blah. So I didn't understand. I was like, which lady? Because from the time that I joined, I became a tenant here, I've been dealing directly with her. I met her from day one. She's the one, I've been sending her the money. And then whenever there were repairs to be done in the house or something, she will send the brother. So I didn't know which lady she was talking about. I was like, is it the caretaker? Because I was dealing with her directly. I was not dealing with the caretaker. The caretaker will only pay the trash, taka pesa, taka taka. So when she said that, from that time, I just felt something. I just felt anxious and anxious. And I told my siblings and my best friend, I was like, something is going to happen, and it's not a good thing, because I know I've been talking to her for 3 years, but the last conversation we had was not good at all. I don't know what she's her next move is going to be. So I think I was just worried. I was like, what if I go to the market and buy food, and I come back and I find a padlock on my door, like she's locked? That's what came to my mind. I was like, maybe if I travel even for this December, and then I come back, I find a padlock. So that is what I constantly thought, and I was so anxious. I would lie awake at night, and I talked to my loved one, and they were like, just relax, just relax. And I was like, no, there's something going to happen, because I felt it from our last conversation. So I decided to just go ahead with life and try to just look for those jobs. I tried to also get, same thing happened. I got another one also in December, but they told me they were going for the Christmas break and whatever. So we didn't do much. So I still didn't have the money for the rent. And then I remember in December, the first week of December, I was in the kitchen. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was washing dishes or something. And then I saw the call. I was watching, actually. I normally like washing dishes while watching on the phone. So I just saw the call from landlady and then her name. And I just felt something, like my stomach sink. I was like, this is it. What is going on? What is happening? So I picked, and then she was like, yeah, I've been really patient with you, but now my mom says that you have to move out. So I was like, your mom? Yeah. She was like, yeah, I've tried to talk to her, and we've been really patient, because you've been paying previously, you have been paying your rent on time, but my mom has been really patient, and now her patience has run out, and she said you have to move out by 15th. I think it was around 7th or 8th there. She was like, you need to move out by date 15th. So I didn't know about the mom, and I was like, okay, can you, I was like, I understand actually, because this is a business, this is someone's business, someone is expecting income from this house every month, and I've not been paying every month. So I was just like, I really understand I cannot even fault you for anything, but can you talk to your mom so she can give me maybe until the end of the month for me to move out? Because right now it's impromptu and I don't have money. And she was like, no, my mom says you have to move out by 15th. That was like either 6 or 7 days. It was almost a week. She was like, you have to move out, and for you to stay up to the end month that you're saying, maybe you clear the arrears. At that point, I didn't have the money to really clear the arrears. So I was like, let me also try on my end to see if I can get money, but also try to talk to your mom. And she was like, okay, bye, we'll catch up. She just ended the call. She was calling me while also, I don't know, buying something or something. So she was just like, I have to go, bye. And that's how she disconnected. So I sat there. I didn't know if it was a family business. I don't know if it I thought it was a house. I really don't know. But that was not the point, because the point was I needed to move out. So I just sat down and decided, what next? Where am I moving out with? Because if someone says, I'm going to lock your door, if you get the money, I'm opening the door. That's one thing. Someone says you have to move out, and you have to move out with their things. So if you're telling someone, can I come stay with you, with my things, with my chair, with my table, it's a different thing. So I just said, I decided the first thing to do is to call my brother, because we don't have parents. It's myself, my brother, and my sister. I have two siblings. My sister is in another town, that is Kisumu. My brother is here in the same town with me, but in a different estate, and he lives alone. So I was like, this is the easiest option. So I just called my brother. I was like, you know what, I've been asked to move out. Can I come stay with you? Can we come, myself and Taraji, can we come stay with you? And he was like, immediately, yes, come, just come. So from there, I think I called my sister too, and I updated her, and I was like, you know what, I've been asked to move out, and I'm going to stay with bro for this time, blah blah blah. And then, yeah, so from there I started arranging on how to, because my brother also lives in a 1-bedroom house. So I had to figure out how to move out. So I decided to first ask for a transportation. I called movers, and I was like, okay, how much will it cost to transport my items, my things from here, from this estate to this estate? So they gave me a figure, and then I decided, I didn't have the money for the transportation. I didn't have any money. So I decided I cannot move with everything. So I sat down and decided, what am I going to sell in this house? So I sold some things. I didn't come with everything. I sold some items, especially what was in my living room. My living room, I think, was almost empty when I was coming, by the time I was leaving. So I called those second-hand people that usually sell second-hand goods. I called them. I told them, come and look at these. I want to sell these and these. Can you take them? How much are you going to pay me? Blah blah. They came. They gave me the money. I sold those things, but the money was still even not enough for me to cover transportation. So my brother topped up, and I'm getting confused. But the next few days, I just planned on how to move, and I have a video, I have a moving vlog. So I think when you watch that, you're going to understand better the process and what I sold and what I remained with. But now I decided to move out a day before the deadline that had been given, because I didn't want to reach the deadline and then maybe face embarrassment. So maybe, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe I would have been like removed physically. I don't know. So I was just like, let me just move out. And I want to say that I don't fault the landlady for doing that. That's her business. And I feel like she was very kind, because I had 2.5 months arrears by the time I was moving out. And when you're moving into a house, you pay an extra month as deposit. Just in case when you want to move out, some people allow you to not to pay rent for that month to cover the money you had given them, or they refund you that money. So if you remove my 1 month's rent, I still had her money, which was like 1.5 months rent. She could have said, we are going to auction your things to recover our money. She could have said, you're not living with your things, you're taking the things. No, but she didn't. She just let me go. She could have said, you clear your arrears and then move out. She didn't. She just let me go. So for that, I feel like she was very, very fair. She did that was good of her. So that day, I think I was in the middle of Vlogmas. When this thing happened, I was doing Vlogmas 7 or Vlogmas 8. I contemplated just cancelling the whole thing, but I was like, you know what? Let me just continue with it. So I prepared everything. I packed. I didn't even tell my caretaker. I think I told her the day that I was moving out, cause for her there's nothing that we when we are talking with the landlady, there's nowhere she comes in unless maybe just opening the gate for me to move out, because I was dealing directly with the owner of the house. So a day before moving out, I just called the owner of the house and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to move out tomorrow, because yeah, as we talked, it's okay, thank you so much for being patient with me, I'll just move out tomorrow. And she said okay. So on the day that I was supposed to move out, I just went and told the caretaker. I was sending her messages. Apparently her phone was stolen. The movers were ready. I had already packed everything. So I just went to her. I saw her passing because she was not in her house. I saw her passing and then getting to her house. So I followed her and I was like, you know what, I'm moving out. So I wanted you to open the door for me, the gate, so I can remove my things. And she was like, your landlady has not told me that you're moving out. So I just told her, you talk to her, because she knows and we've already spoken. That's why I even spoke to the landlady. So because I couldn't just move out as if I was. My brother is back. Let me pause this. So say hi and then leave.
Hi.
Let me finish this. She's brought me chewing gum. So we came that day that I was traveling. That's the day that my video uploaded itself. I was in a mess. I was like, what the hell is going on? I had to delete it. A lot of things happened. But now, where am I? Physically, I'm at my brother's house, as I've told you. But now, what are my future, like my plans going forward? This is the first week of January, so you're going to see this video tomorrow. The thing is, schools are opening the last week of January, which is 23rd there. I cannot afford the schools in this area where my brother lives. Most of the schools, the school fees is like triple what I used to pay. I can't afford it. Some are double. I can't afford it. And that's not even wise, because my plan is I want to downgrade my life. I want to reduce or downsize, reduce my cost of living. So that means I want to pay less for housing. I want to live in a cheaper neighborhood. And that means I cannot pay triple the school fees. So my plan is, I've identified an area, a neighborhood that is cheaper. So I'm looking for money so I can move to that neighborhood and look for a house that is cheaper than my previous house. Even if that means going back to a bedsitter, maybe I don't have a problem. A bedsitter is a studio apartment. I lived there before coming to my one bedroom, so that's not a problem. But I just want to reduce my cost of living to be more manageable until things pick up for me, because I know things are going to pick up for me, but not yet. I'm trying to answer any other question that you may have, which is, what about YouTube? I just got monetized. I applied for the pin. I'm waiting for the pin to come. So when the pin comes, I need to have made $100 in my account for me to withdraw. I was monetized in January, beginning of January, 4th January. So far I've not even made the $100. January, December, when no, November. I was monetized on 4th of November. November, December, January. I've not even made that 100,000. So that's not money that I'm even counting on right now. And $100 is 10,000 Kenyan shillings. So even if I get the money, 10,000 is not enough for me to move and whatever. But it can also supplement. It can help a lot. So YouTube is out. It's my siblings and I. We're just trying to come up with a strategy of how we are going to go through this. And I know that if my siblings were able to like be in a position to really help, I would not even be here today. But my brother just started his first job, like official job, not the internship, not the attachment, official job. He just started. So it means even when all these things were happening, he had not even like been paid, gotten his first salary or whatever. So you see, so that's my plan, because my brother is also a young man. He's just starting his life. He needs his space. If you've ever also lived alone, you want to have your own space. It's something that you just get used to, and I figure that is easier than me staying with him and then paying triple the school fees in this area. Doesn't make sense. So that's the plan as of now. Do I know when I'm going to accomplish it? Do I really have the money at hand right now? No. but there are things that we're putting in place, my siblings and I. Again, there are things that we are working on, there are things that I'm working on my side. So hopefully I'll be able to get that money. So for me, this year is all about just getting my life in order. It's about a fresh start. I'm starting afresh, actually. So I just invite you to be with me on this journey. I'll take you through everything. Some of the things you may have to do them later. I've already made peace with that. But the thing that worries me is I have a deadline, because schools open a certain date. I can't delay my child when it comes to school. That means I have to look for a new school, guys. I have to buy new uniforms. And if you've watched my video, you remember that the last time I bought uniforms for her, because I didn't know that we would be transferring schools. So I need new uniforms. I need new school fees. If you're going to a new school, you're going to pay admission fee. The schools that charge for interviews, there's the actual school fees, and then the moving process, all happening at the same time. It's a lot. But I'm going to do what I can. I'm just going to do what I can, and I'm going to update you. Even when I get a house, I'm going to take you along. We're going to look for the house. I'm going to show you the house and everything. And if that option also doesn't work, of me getting a house, and then we'll see. But that's the update. I think I'm just getting confused at this point. There's a lot that happened, but this is what I wanted to share. If I forget anything else, I'm going to add it in another video. But thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in my next vlog. Bye bye.